What is the number one thing that I can do to develop my mediumship quickly and efficiently other than sitting in the power? Hi, if you don't know me, I'm Medium Michael Mayo, author of the book Spirit Speaks and the founder of the Oak Bridge Institute. This is one of the most commonly asked questions by our students, and the resounding answer: home circle. Home circle is the traditional way of developing your mediumship. This is a group of the same people sitting in what's called a closed circle. This means that it's the same group and no new people can be added. They sit week after week for the development of the power as well as the development for a specific medium. Back in the late 1800s, there weren't any Oak Bridge Institutes or Arthur Findlay colleges, no classes or workshops. The way that you developed was sitting in a group of like-minded people, possibly your friends, maybe your family, and you sat in a very harmonious space. Eventually, someone would start to show mediumistic potential, and then the whole of the group would start to sit for that specific medium. Then, hopefully, the spirit would start to be able to develop mental mediumship, trance mediumship, physical mediumship. It just kind of depended on what was available through the combined group energy and what was natural in that medium. One of the key concepts to home circle is allowing the spirit to do whatever it is that they can do with the power that is available to them. This helped the medium to become incredibly passive and not attached to the outcome, not wanting something to happen. This is one of the pieces as to why home circle is one of the most important things that we can do as a developing medium. By sitting together without expectation, this allows the spirit world to develop you, draw close, and utilize the power that is provided by the extra people sending you energy. In the modern world, everybody wants to be the medium, so it's a lot more challenging to find dedicated sitters who will sit for the development of a specific medium. So to work around this problem, I have modernized the home circle by making sure that each person in the group gets a chance to be the focal point of the group energy at some point in the month, and thereby rapidly developing their mediumship through the power and the collective power of the group. Another advantage of sitting in this more modern way is that the sitters are actually going to be paying attention to what's happening in the power while the medium is sitting. So the sitters, being the people that are sending the energy to the medium, they're a part of this energetic soup now. And so they start to feel what is happening in the power themselves. And this is where the training really starts to happen for those people who are supporting that medium in that moment. They start to understand and correlate what they experience with what the medium shares at the end of their sitting. And what this does is it starts to create a language of understanding what the power is doing throughout the sitting. So that when I experienced this thing, it meant this was happening. When I experienced this thing, it meant that was happening. This is how we start to understand and truly make sense of the power. This type of training is also really applicable to how we do our mental mediumship readings. Through this sort of passive, very relaxed state that the sitters are experiencing and sensing and perceiving how the energy is shifting and changing, it is then applied to the way that we experience mediumship. So when a spirit person starts to step into our energy, we're able to really move and relax with whatever that spirit person is bringing. We're not trying to get information anymore. Rather, we're just letting it naturally happen to us, just like it happens when we're sitting for a specific medium and we start feeling that power shift, move, and change. And as we get better and better at this, we really start to pay attention to and understand what the power is doing, how it behaves, and it starts to make us more accurate with knowing what the spirit world is trying to bring to us. Really great example of the value of understanding the power is many years ago, for those of you who know medium Megan Elisa, she came to me for a psychic reading, or at least that's what she booked it for. And I started to get ready to give her the reading. And what happened was the power started to shift. It started to change. And it didn't feel like the power I feel when it's psychism. Instead, it started to feel like the power of trance. That seemed incredibly weird to me. So I said to her, hey, Megan, I know you're here for a psychic reading, but what I'm experiencing is the power of the trance, and I can feel my guide starting to step in. And she said, oh, that makes perfect sense. On the way here, I asked your guide to step forward because I wanted to ask him a few questions. So this is a really clear illustration of how the power is so important to understand, because I went into that reading expecting this was going to be a psychic reading, and then it ended up being that the power, through the intelligence of the spirit, was able to tell me what actually was requested unbeknownst to me. So with that example, it's so clear the value of being able to understand what is the power doing? What is it communicating in a given situation? And that's where the intelligence of the Spirit really inspires and moves whatever communication is occurring. And that's the skill set that is developed when we sit in home circle. So while we may not be giving messages, we may not bringing through information in that same way, we are learning to follow and listen and move with the power and the influence of the Spirit. Having taught this circle for years and years, I've had the pleasure of watching so many different people develop and learn and see how quickly their mediumship really starts to grow and expand. It is truly one of the quickest and strongest ways to develop your mediumship. And that's why the answer has to be that the number one thing I would recommend for people to do, other than sitting in the power, is sit in a home circle. You will not regret it. If you are interested in sitting in a home circle, but you don't know where to start, I'm actually starting up a home circle this month, as well as continuing all throughout next year. So if you are interested in developing your mediumship, if you're interested in understanding the power and thereby deepening your accuracy, your specificity, and learning to listen to the intelligence of the Spirit, I highly, highly, highly recommend leaving a comment down below or sharing this with someone else who you think would benefit from also developing their mediumship in this way. And that way, all together, we can develop our understanding of the power and deepening our connection to the other world.